The Dallas Mavericks complete a successful 4-1 road trip after getting a 109-87 win over the Washington Wizards. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports on YouTube. The Dallas Mavericks moved to a season-high 6 games above 500 at 27-21. They are also now 16-11 on the road after getting a 109-87 win over the Washington Wizards. Russell Westbrook held to 26 points on 24 shots, was a negative 19 in this game, in a game where the Dallas Mavericks really guarded and played well on the defensive end, forcing 14 turnovers and turning those 14 turnovers into 23 points. The defensive effort in the last 2 games, especially against the Knicks, holding them to 86 points and then backing that up and holding the Washington Wizards to 87 points. Really seeing this team starting to mature on both ends of the floor. This is a team in the Mavericks who were missing several key starters in this game. Kristaps Porzingis was held out due to injury recovery. Josh Richardson was a late scratch due to calf tightness. Also, Maxi Kleber missed this game due to left leg contusion. This is already on top of Willie Cauley-Stein still remaining out due to the health and safety protocols. So Nicolo Melli and Boban Marjanovic got the starts in this game in place of Maxi Kleber and Kristaps Porzingis, and they were both absolutely spectacular in this game. Boban Marjanovic, a season-high 15 points and 12 rebounds. The Luka Boban connection was on full display as Luka Doncic in this game had 26 points. In the first half, Luka Doncic and Boban Marjanovic scored the first 14 points of the first half, and then they opened up the second half by scoring the first 14 points of this game. Also, we know how good of a friends Luka Doncic and Boban Marjanovic are off the floor. Here's Luka Doncic talking about the on-court chemistry that Boban and Luka have. Here's what Luka had to say after the win.
Hey, Luka, I know you and Boban are good friends off the court, but what about your – oh, no? Okay, I'll fix that in my story. Appreciate it.
For the media.
Yeah. So what about your on-court chemistry? How have you guys been able to form that relationship and that rhythm together?
I mean, it's easy for me, I put the defender on my back when he sets a good screen, and then we just play 1 and 2, and you just throw it up there, and Bob is there, so that's easy. This is good play.
So Luka Doncic talking about how easy it is to play with Boban Marjanovic and the on-court chemistry developed by their off-court friendship coming to full fruition in this game, where Boban Marjanovic is a guy that you just have to love and a guy that stays ready game in and game out. No matter if he is starting, no matter if he is sitting out games, he remains ready. A stay-ready all-star is Boban Marjanovic, and he put that on full display in getting the start in place of Kristaps Porzingis. Nicolo Melli, who was part of the J.J. Redick trade coming over from the New Orleans Pelicans, also played very well in this basketball game. In this game, he had 10 points, was a plus 22, and had 8 rebounds, provided them defensive energy, offensive consistency, and really a veteran presence on the floor, and being able to know what his role is as a stretch 5, being able to shoot the ball from the three-point line and making the correct basketball plays. Here's what Nicolo Melli had to say about playing with Luka Doncic and why it's better playing with him than against him. Here's what Nicolo Melli had to say.
As I said in my first interview, it's way easier to play with him than against him. This is pretty clear. I don't think I have to tell you, which kind of player he is. You just need to be in the right spot in the right moment, and we'll find you. And it's easy to play with him.
So Nicolo Melli loving the idea of playing with the all-NBA, all-world star in Luka Doncic, and how easy the game is played when you're playing with a person in Luka Doncic who makes things easy for you on the offensive end of the basketball. But this game was about the defense that the Dallas Mavericks continued to play and the role players staying ready and stepping up, of course, led by the captain of the Stay Ready All-Stars in one Jalen Brunson, who had 19 points in this game, was a plus 17 as he shot 6 of 12 from the floor. the efficiency, the aggressiveness, and the ability for Jalen Brunson to attack the rim on a consistent basis night in and night out continues to put him in position as one of the best role players in all of the NBA. And as this team continues to find the balance on both the offensive and defensive end, where this team in their last 11 ball games is ninth in defensive rating, they're playing with the kind of defensive upside that Rick Carlisle has talked about all season. Here's Jalen Brunson after the game talking about the confidence that this team is playing with on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty confident on the defensive side of the ball. Coaches just keep preaching on getting better every day, keep learning, and keep trusting each other on both sides of the ball. Yeah, we're just getting better, and we're going to keep making strides.
So the Dallas Mavericks sitting down and guarding, especially in these last couple of games where you saw against the New York Knicks, holding them to 86 points, then holding the Washington Wizards to 87 points. The defensive game plans that Jamal Mosley, the defensive coordinator, and Rick Carlisle are putting into place are really giving this team a lot of confidence about their ability to go out and execute night after night and have the ability to be much more confident on the defensive end of the floor. I asked Coach Rick Carlisle after the game about if this team is playing with the kind of defensive upside that he has described to us all season long about how much better this team can get, especially when they focus on the defensive end. Here's what Coach Rick Carlisle had to say after the game.
We knew that we could defend a lot better than we were, the first month of the season, first 5 weeks. Pretty well documented that the unexpected 8-day break with 4, high-level practices, high-level quality practices, helped us step it up to another level. We became more physical. We were, more focused on details. We were very fortunate. Now, that meant we were going to, have a little bit more crowded schedule in the second half, but a lot of other teams are in the same boat. But this team's showing you what it's capable of. The game last night in New York, holding them in the 80s, I think it was, and tonight, holding these guys to 87. I don't care if Beal's out and Hachimura's out. These guys can score. And they got Russell Westbrook out there who's, been averaging a triple-double. And, we needed the same kind of grind mentality for this game. But this game was completely different than last night's game. This was a fast-paced game that we had to tempo a certain way. And had to really stay in the fight defensively all the time and be disciplined offensively. Last night, that was just going to be a slow game by nature. They play a slow pace. We're not that much faster than them. And so, but the guys did a great job of keying in on a game plan.
So Coach Rick Carlisle going into a long dissertation about how this team, after the winter storm where you saw several games postponed, were able to have high-level, high-quality practices to really focus in on the fundamentals of being a much more consistent defensive team. And you're seeing that come to fruition in the second half. This is a team in the Dallas Mavericks now who find themselves 18-7 since February 6th. That is the fourth best record in all of the NBA. Moved to 18-0 when leading after the first quarter. They closed the first quarter on a 5-0 run, which gave them a 24-19 lead. Then they were able to really put the pedal to the metal in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Washington Wizards 34-20 in this basketball game. So you're seeing now on both ends of the floor the scoring and the shooting ability of a Luka Doncic and how he's continued to improve his three-point shot. Overall, this team's shooting better from the three-point line. But the tide is starting to turn on the defensive end. All of this team has been wanting to do and needing to do is to play a measure of competent defense on that side of the floor, because we know how good and how great they can be when they're shooting the basketball, and the offensive efficiency that we saw from them last year as historically the best offensive rating in NBA history. This year, especially in the second half, as they've been more consistent and more healthy in terms of their lineups and the way that Kristaps Porzingis has emerged in the second half, they have started to play with that kind of offensive efficiency that we're accustomed to seeing for the Dallas Mavericks. But the defensive basketball that they're playing these days really gives you the kind of confidence that a team who is now 2 games clear of the San Antonio Spurs for first place in the Southwest Division, still 3 games behind the Denver Nuggets as far as the 5th seed is concerned, 2 games behind the Portland Trail Blazers as the 6th seed is concerned, about their ability to try and make a push toward getting out of that dreaded 7 spot where you have to be in the play-in tournament. Yes, I know they lost the season series to the Portland Trail Blazers, but their ability to now guard people night after night and to do so on a consistent basis really gives this team an opportunity, who now comes home to take on the Utah Jazz before they go back on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. A really good opportunity to move up the Western Conference standings, especially knowing that you have teams coming in such as the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers, who are the top 2 teams in the 2 of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, about their ability to be much more confident. But they finish this all-important road trip 4-1. And we talked about how this Mavericks team needed to be at least 3-2 on this road trip to really give them the kind of confidence coming back home to the American Airlines Center about how they would move forward for the rest of the second half of the year. You're now a season-high 6 games above 500, continuing to play well on the road. Can that road success now translate into the American Airlines Center? Because defense travels. And the way that this team went on the road and played the kind of defense that they did against the Boston Celtics, against the New York Knicks, against the Washington Wizards, those are the kind of translatable things that as you look forward toward the rest of the season against better opponents, when they see the Lakers and the Bucks and the Sixers, that they can take with them as things that can remain consistent going forward, no matter how much their offense may fluctuate. And then the contributions from the Tim Hardaway Jr.'s of the world, the Jalen Brunsons and his consistency, and now Nicolo Melli finding himself being assimilated into this rotation. This team is rounding into the kind of form that we thought we were going to see from this team coming into this season, which is extremely important if you're a Mavs fan, wondering if the depth of this team is where it needs to be as you await J.J. Redick to come back from his right heel injury and how he will continue to help this team, especially shooting the ball from the three-point line. But make no mistake about it, the defense is what's changing things for the Dallas Mavericks. And let me tell you something, that's not something that I thought I would be saying about the Mavericks in 2020 and into 2021, is that the defense that this team would be playing would be the reason why you find them now a season-high 6 games above 500. You wasn't thinking that, and I certainly wasn't thinking it. But at the same time, this is where we are with the Dallas Mavericks and how well they've continued to play, now finding themselves in the top 10 in terms of defensive rating over their last 11 ball games, and more importantly, finding confidence and staying together and winning important basketball games on the road. We will see if this momentum can continue to go forward. As I mentioned, coming home to take on a Utah Jazz team that put a couple of beatdowns on them when they were in Utah earlier this year. But at the same time, this is a different basketball team from the one that you saw lose 6 games in a row at one point and found themselves 4, 5, 6 games under 500. That team is now gone, and this team with a new defensive attitude and mantra and the balance that they're finding from their role players and guys having that next man up mentality gives you an idea that this Mavericks team can continue to move forward and get better. We shall see, as always. The Dallas Mavericks move to 27-21 on the season. They get a 109-87 win on the road against the Washington Wizards. They come home to take on the Utah Jazz before heading back on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right here for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. This has been another episode of The Gray Area. We'll talk to you later. Peace.